When we undertake an inward journey into material things, such as the human body, in a quest to find the tiniest particle of life and perhaps the source of life, we break down bodies into organs, tissues, cells, atoms, subatomic particles, and quantum particles until we arrive at an inner space. When we undertake an outward journey into the cosmos in a quest to find the edge of the universe and perhaps the destiny of life, we pass through planets, solar systems, galaxies, clusters, and superclusters until we arrive at outer space. Although the ancient spiritual traditions have told us for ages that all of reality is one whole, it is only now that science is catching up with this truth. And this scientific proof changes everything for us as humans in terms of our understanding of reality and how we live our lives. Some of the most brilliant scientists of our time have now proven through precise mathematical equations that inner space and outer space are one and the same space. No matter what direction of motion you take, somewhere you will always experience a curvature that will bring you back to where you began. Reality is a wholeness in which all things exist as holographic self-expressions of the whole. Wholeness, oneness, or unity is the first spiritual law of the universe. The material universe is a transient phenomenon that is occurring within an immaterial reality that is infinite in nature. The journey into the quantum world in search of the tiniest particle and origin of matter leads us into an infinite expanse of space that defies knowledge and understanding at our current level of mental and scientific development. The journey into the cosmological world in search of the edge of the universe leads us into an infinite expanse of space that defies knowledge and understanding at our current level of mental and scientific development. The transience of materiality and the infinity of immateriality is what we have determined to be the second spiritual law of the universe. This infinite space is also a living presence. It possesses intelligence or awareness. Based on the sophisticated level of organization in the universe, which continues to evolve through fixed and predictable patterns over billions of years, there is overwhelming evidence that the universe is intentionally designed and that the force that animates it is intelligent. Applying the law of correspondence, we can also determine that if man is a self-aware being and man is the holographic image of the wholeness within which all things are contained, then we must conclude that the whole is also self-aware. Intelligence is thus the third spiritual law of the universe. What we notice at the level of the quantum matrix or source field is that the fundamental particles of life, such as photons, derive their mass from a field which does not possess the properties of matter. The 2012 groundbreaking discovery of the Higgs field finally sealed the case to theoretical physicists that beyond the quantum field, there is indeed an immaterial field from which the quantum particles receive their mass. So, life emerges from an immaterial field, takes form through the quantum particles such as the photons, organizes itself into atoms, then systematically builds itself up into molecules, cells, tissues, organs, organisms, communities, planets, solar systems, galaxies, clusters, superclusters, and a cosmic tree of life that is perpetually expanding. Life is the spontaneous unfolding and unconditional overflowing of the life force. Growth, increase, or expansion is a natural pulse of the universe. Perpetual expansion is thus the fourth spiritual law of the universe. The one infinite, intelligent, and ever-expanding presence, which we know as the spirit or essence of life, lives and moves and has its being through the creative process. Since it is spirit in nature, it experiences itself through awareness or thinking. Since it is the only thing that is, with nothing external to itself to think about or act upon, it can only think about itself. Spirit, therefore, experiences itself through self-contemplation or self-awareness. That which spirit contemplates itself as, it experiences itself as, such that the worlds are called forth into being simply through the self-awareness of spirit. Creation is therefore the manifestation of the spirit of life, the garment of God, the splendor of God, or the glory of God. Because of this creative attribute of spirit, reality exists as a duality in which everything has an inner or invisible essence and an outer or visible expression. The essence of a thing is the real thing, the thing in itself. That is, the thing as it exists in divine mind. Everything fulfills itself in and through its expression. The expression of a thing is the manifest thing. That is, the thing as it is revealed in creation. The expression or form of a thing is transient, manifesting through cycles of birth and death, while the essence is eternally living in divine consciousness. Creativity is thus the fifth spiritual law of the universe. Having presented this overview of the first 5 spiritual laws of the universe, let us now introduce the 6th law. The 6th spiritual law of the universe is individualization. We have seen that the one infinite, intelligent, ever-expanding, and creative spirit of life experiences itself through the process of self-awareness or self-contemplation. Have you noticed that each time you are thinking, there is always the you that is thinking and the you that you are thinking of yourself as? When you say, for example, I am happy, there is a subject, I am, and an object, happy. Although most humans rarely recognize it, consciousness is a Trinitarian experience in which there is the thinker, the object of thinking, and the process of thinking. The creative spirit we call God is the pure consciousness or absolute mind whose conscious activity generates everything in creation, including you. Since you are the image of God, you can understand how divine consciousness works by examining how your consciousness works. This is so because consciousness is one. The reason why God becomes His creation without exhausting Himself in the process is because creation is not the image of the totality of God, but the image of the self-awareness of God. God is eternally being aware of Himself, and that which he knows himself to be, he brings forth as creation. But since God is absolute, infinite, and eternal, the pure essence of God, which we know as the Father, will always be greater than its self-awareness. The self-image or self-awareness of God is the divine individuality or divine identity we know as the Son of God or the Christ, which is the Logos or blueprint of creation. Divine self-awareness creates the divine identity, which in turn serves as a blueprint or logos out of which all creation comes into being. The outpouring of the pure essence, that is the Father, through the identity, that is the Son, and into creation is that mystical river of life which we call the Holy Spirit. Here then are the first 6 spiritual laws of the universe, which we have unveiled by using logical reasoning to examine the evidence provided to us by science. I invite you to study them daily and meditate on them throughout your days. This is how they will sink into your DNA and become part of your nature. When these principles become part of your nature, you would have engineered a new version of you that is spontaneously manifesting a glorious life. I am GodfreyEsoh, and this is Spiritual Engineering.